Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone. With the Super Bowl just around the corner, thought we'd do a Super Bowl video and take a look at every Super Bowl winning quarterback that has ever been. There's been 56 Super Bowls and 35 different quarterbacks to win it, and we're going to run through them chronologically, starting with Bart Starr, who won Super Bowl I, ending with Matt Stafford, who won last year. And we're going to look at each of their rookie cards and the value of that card in various grades. We're going to be using the Topps rookie for most players. Many of the players on this list only have one Topps rookie, but for those who have multiple rookies, will you still use the Topps rookie unless they don't have a Topps rookie? There's a few examples of that. In that case, we'll look at sort of their most standard rookie. And then I'll have a few tidbits for you at the end for those of you who like tidbits. All right, we'll start off with a bang here. Bart Starr, who I just mentioned, and that's his 1957 Topps rookie. And in addition to being a Hall of Fame rookie card from the 1950s, it's also in the high number series in the 1957 set, so sort of a short print card on top of that. Big money card here is Bart Starr won both Super Bowls 1 and 2 for the Green Bay Packers. You can see lower grade copies in a PSA 3 go for over $700. And the last PSA 9 sale was back in 2017, really rare card in high grade. But the last PSA 9 sale went for over $250,000. And quite the 1-2 punch to start the video, as the Star and this Joe Namath here, two of the most valuable vintage sports football cards that there are. Broadway Joe's rookie here, 1965 Topps, extremely tough tall boy card to find in really any grade, but particularly in high grade. And Joe Namath won Super Bowl III for the New York Jets, their only Super Bowl win to date. And you can see another just big money card, the last PSA 9 sale being back in 2018. Again, really tough card to find in that sort of grade. Also over $250,000. And even in low grade, the card is well into the multiple four figures. Next up, Len Dawson, and that's his 1963 Fleer rookie. Dawson was not in the top set that year, so the 63 Fleer is his only official rookie card. Dawson won Super Bowl IV for the Kansas City Chiefs. And again, another big money card, although at least you can get a PSA 9 for under the cost of a used Toyota Camry here, about $8,000 or so for a PSA 9. And mid-grade copies, PSA 5s, will cost you more like $700. Super Bowl V was won by the Indianapolis Colts, led by Johnny Unitas, and that's his 1957 Topps rookie. And like the Bart Starr from that set, the card is in the high number series, although it's not a short print, so not quite as nowhere near as rare as the Bart Starr. And Unitas won a bunch of NFL championships, but most of his career occurred before the Super Bowl era, so only has one official Super Bowl win. Another big money card, as you can see, the last PSA 9 sale going for $83,000 back in 2019, and solid mid-grade PSA 5s go for about $700. You'll notice the early portion of this list is basically a who's who of all-time great quarterbacks, and here's another example of that. Roger Staubach, who won 2 Super Bowls for the Dallas Cowboys, actually started 4 of them and won 2 of them. That's his 1972 Topps rookie. He won both Super Bowls 6 and 12. You can see just another big money card, 5 figures in a PSA 9. PSA 5's a little more affordable, $175 for Captain Comeback. Next up is Bob Griese, who won back-to-back Super Bowls with the Miami Dolphins, including with the 1972 team, which is still the only NFL team in history to go undefeated in both the regular season and postseason. That's his 1968 Topps rookie, and you can see he won Super Bowl 7 and 8. PSA 9's going for close to $3,000, and mid-grade copies a lot more affordable with PSA 5s going for about $100. Our next Super Bowl winning quarterback is Terry Bradshaw, who won 4 Super Bowls, all in the 1970s and all with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's his 1971 Topps rookie, a card that's really hard to get in high grade, as the red borders make it very susceptible to chipping along the edges and the corners. And he won back-to-back Super Bowls twice, 9 and 10 and Super Bowls 13 and 14. And you can see, again, the card in high grade is extremely hard to come by, going for close to $500,000 in a PSA 10. There has only been one ever known sale of a PSA 10. That was in 2021. And again, mid-grade copies a lot more reasonably priced. PSA 5s going for a little over $200. Kenny Stabler's up next. That's his 1973 Topps rookie, and he won a Super Bowl with the Oakland Raiders. Super Bowl 11, in fact. And you'll notice as we get into sort of the mid-70s and into the 80s, card values in general will come way down as card production ramped way up into the 70s and 80s, so cards are in general just a lot more common. PSA 9 copies of this Hall of Fame winning quarterback just into 4 figures, and PSA 5s can be had for just about $60. Next up is Jim Plunkett, who is our first quarterback here on this list who is not in the Hall of Fame. He's also the only non-Hall of Fame quarterback to win 2 Super Bowls. A couple of pieces of trivia there you can use to wow your friends at the bar. You'll be the talk of the party. This is his 1972 Topps rookie, and he won Super Bowls 15 and 18 with the Oakland Raiders. PSA 10 is extremely rare. You'll see that going for over $3,000, but in other grades, much more affordable. PSA 8's only going for about $100, and PSA 6s can be had for just under $30. Bradshaw was the first 4-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and Joe Montana is the second. And Montana and Bradshaw's 4 Super Bowls ranks tied for second all time. And this is Joe Montana's 1981 Topps rookie, a very iconic card in the sports card world. Montana again won 4 Super Bowls, all with the San Francisco 49ers, and all during the 1980s. Super Bowls 16, 19, 23, and 24. PSA 10 copies of this card are extremely high demand and not easy to come by. Going for about $50,000 today. They actually reached quite a bit more than that around a year ago or so, but in mid-grade copy, you can have the card for a little over $100. And now we're going to get a run of non-Hall of Famers to win Super Bowls. Remember, at this point on the list, Jim Plunkett is the only Super Bowl winning quarterback not in the Hall of Fame, but we're going to get 6 in a row here, starting with Joe Theismann, and that's his 1975 Topps rookie. He won Super Bowl 17 with Washington. And again, as we get into the sort of mid-70s and 80s, cards are a lot less valuable just because of the print runs were a lot higher. PSA 10 copies still can go for big bucks of cards like this, as just not a lot of copies out there. You can see a PSA 10 last sold in 2020 for $3,500. But PSA, 5, 6, 7, 8, those are all going to be just 2 figures. Next up is Jim McMahon, who quarterbacked perhaps the greatest defensive football team in NFL history in the 1985 Chicago Bears, who also happened to have Walter Payton at running back. So no disrespect to Mr. McMahon, but probably a lot of quarterbacks could have won a Super Bowl with that team. This is his 1983 Topps rookie. A very common card, can be had for maybe just $1 or $2 raw. And again, we're into the 1980s where card production just ramped way up. So you can pick up this card even in a higher grade PSA 8 for just $29. Next up is Phil Simms, who helped the New York Football Giants win their first ever Super Bowl, Super Bowl 21. That's his 1980 Topps rookie, and PSA 10s will go for about $1,000. Again, we're now into the 80s, so you can pick up nice copies of this card and say PSA 8, for example, for just $29. Now, Doug Williams, and I'll spend a little more time on this one as this was the first Super Bowl I ever watched, and it was really the game that sort of made me become a football fan. Williams was a quarterback for Washington, and they won Super Bowl 22 in dominant fashion. Williams was the first African-American quarterback to start in and win a Super Bowl. You can see he started his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but later got traded to Washington. That's his 1979 Topps rookie, and in the game, Washington won 42-10 over Denver, with Williams winning the MVP and throwing for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Most amazing was the second quarter, in which Washington scored 35 points. That is still an all-time record for points scored in a single quarter, and I'm not just talking about Super Bowls, but any NFL game. Similar to other such cards in this era, they're pretty affordable, ungraded, and also in PSA 7s, 8s, and 9s, and then you see a huge premium placed on 10s. In the case of the Williams here, a PSA 10 going for close to $1,500, which is roughly 15 times the price of a PSA 9. Next up is Jeff Hostetler, and like Doug Williams, he actually was the backup going into the season, but ended up taking over for the starter late in the year and ended up, taking his team all the way to the Super Bowl win again here with the New York Football Giants, and that's his 1990 Fleer rookie. Height of the junk wax era, Hostetler would essentially be a common if not for the Super Bowl win, and you can see his rookie card here, not particularly expensive. You can pick it up for under $1 ungraded, and even PSA 10s only go for about $50 or so. Next up, Mark Rippon, who, kind of like Jeff Hostetler, really didn't have much of a relevant career other than the lone Super Bowl win. He won his Super Bowl with Washington, making them the first team to win 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. And his 1989 Topps rookie also in the height of the junk wax era, so not a particularly expensive card. You could probably pick it up raw for like a quarter or so, and PSA 10s can only reach about $60. Finally, breaking our run of non-Hall of Famers is Troy Aikman, who is indeed in the Hall of Fame, won 3 Super Bowls for the Dallas Cowboys in the 1990s. That's his 1989 Topps traded rookie, and starting in 1989, football cards finally had more than one set, as a Pro Set and Score burst onto the scene, and then throughout the 90s, a bunch more sets emerged as well. The 1989 Topps Traded is a very, very common set, height of the junk wax era, ultra common, and you can see a PSA 10 rookie card of a Hall of Famer, just $65, but in fact his score rookie is quite a bit more than that. And after our 6-player run of non-Hall of Famers, we actually are now going to go on a bit of run of Hall of Famers with 5 straight, starting with Troy Aikman, and the second one here is Steve Young. That's his 1986 Topps rookie. He won a couple of Super Bowls as a backup to Joe Montana in the 1980s, but also finally got his lone Super Bowl win as a starter with San Francisco in the mid-1990s. His rookie card there is extremely hard to get in PSA 10. It's just a pop 7, which is a ridiculously low pop count for a card from the 1980s, and that's why the last sale of a PSA 10 went for 6 figures. Next up is Brett Favre, and he's just the second player on the list not to have a Topps rookie. He wasn't in the 1991 Topps set or 1991 Topps Traded set for whatever reason, so showing the 1991 Topps Stadium Club rookie here. He won Super Bowl 31 for the Green Bay Packers, and PSA 10 copies of this card go for a little under $200. PSA 8's just $15. Continuing our run of Hall of Famers, all-time great John Elway, who started more Super Bowls than any other quarterback not named Tom Brady. He started 5 and actually won 2 of them. Actually lost the first 3 early in his career before winning the final 2 in the final 2 seasons of his career. That's his 1984 Topps rookie, and he won Super Bowls 32 and 33, retired right after the winning Super Bowl 33, able to sort of go out on top. PSA 8's going for about $85. PSA 10's big money, over $6,000. And now Kurt Warner, who captained the greatest show on turf, the ridiculous Rams teams of the late 90s and early 2000s, who were absolutely stacked on offense. Warner does not have a Topps rookie, wasn't in the set in the 1999 set. Actually has very few rookies. He sort of showed up in the scene late into the year. That's his 1999 Bowman's Best rookie. PSA 10's going for $135. You can see he won Super Bowl 34 with the Rams. That is their lone Super Bowl victory. Next up is Trent Dilfer, sort of an interesting one. Dilfer was the number 1 overall draft pick in 1994, but ended up with a pretty forgettable career other than he did win a Super Bowl with the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, who would sort of be the other contender along with the 85 Bears as the greatest defensive team in NFL history. That's his 1994 Topps rookie, very, very common card, and as you can see, not particularly expensive, only under $30 for a PSA 10. And that brings us to Tom Brady, the first player on this list who is still active. There'll be a bunch more to come, but Brady is our first active player here. His rookie cards are from 2000. He was not in the 2000 Topps set, so showing here his 2000 Bowman rookie. Brady is widely considered to be the best NFL player of all time, any position, but certainly at quarterback. He started more Super Bowls, twice as many Super Bowls as anyone else. Started 10 Super Bowls. That's the second highest would be 5 from John Elway. And he also won 7 Super Bowls. That's almost double anybody else. The second most is 4 by both Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw. The first 6 were with the New England Patriots, and the 7th was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's also one of only 2 quarterbacks to win Super Bowls with 2 different teams. The Bowman here is a $6,000 card in a PSA 10. He actually has a bunch of rookies, I think over 40 base rookies, and many of them are much more valuable than this one. But you can see the 7 Super Bowl wins, including only 1 back-to-back. Pretty amazing that he won the 7 Super Bowls over an 18-year stretch. That's a very impressive, continued, extended stretch of greatness. Tough act to follow Tom Brady, but that role falls to Brad Johnson and his 1992 wildcard rookie. Interesting is that this is Johnson's only rookie card. He simply didn't appear in any other set that year. He quarterbacked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to their first Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 37. A wild card was only around a few years, but it was a legit brand with NFL licensing during the junk wax era, so these sets are not rare. The Johnson is more or less a common, ungraded, but in a PSA 10 holder stretches into 3 figures. Coming up next is Ben Roethlisberger, another multiple Super Bowl winner. He won 2 Super Bowls with the Pittsburgh Steelers and actually started a third as well. As we get into the early 2000s, there are lots of brands producing cards. So Roethlisberger has many, many rookie cards. This here is his 2004 Topps, which is actually one of his more common rookies. PSA 8 is about $25 and a PSA 10 around $140. Next, we get a couple of brothers, both with 2 Super Bowl wins. First is Peyton Manning, who started 4 Super Bowls, 2 with the Colts, winning 1, and 2 with the Broncos, also winning 1, making him the only other quarterback, along with Tom Brady, to win Super Bowls with 2 different teams. Another one with just lots of rookies, many much more valuable than his 1998 Topps rookie here that you see on screen, but that one will cost you about $400 in a PSA 10. And then Peyton's brother, Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl winner with the New York Football Giants, and he has the added claim of handing Tom Brady 2 of his 3 Super Bowl losses. Another one with lots of different rookie cards, and that's actually going to be the case for all players moving forward, basically, without exception. His 2004 Topps rookie is not one of the most valuable ones, but one of the more recognizable, fetching a little over $100 in a PSA 10. The Saints have won a lone Super Bowl in their history, Super Bowl 44, which was captained by Drew Brees, who ranks second all-time in career passing yards and passing touchdowns. His rookie cards are from 2001, and this is his 2001 Topps. You can see a pretty big multiplier from a 9 to a 10 with this card, over $300 for a PSA 10, while a PSA 9 is around $50. So far, I've only seen 1 active player in the video, but now we have just 6 more quarterbacks to go, and all of them are still active. First is Aaron Rodgers, who won Super Bowl 45 with the Green Bay Packers, as the Packers became the 3rd team to win a Super Bowl with 3 different quarterbacks. His 2005 Topps rookie is very similar price to the Breeze, a little over $300 in a PSA 10 and about $50 for a PSA 8. Our 3rd active player on the list is Joe Flacco, who played most of his career with the Baltimore Ravens before bouncing around as a backup the last few seasons. He won Super Bowl 47 with the Ravens, another defensive stud of a team. Flacco had a pretty notable career in addition to the Super Bowl win, but he's essentially a common. His 2008 Topps rookie is the least valuable card on this entire list, as you can pick it up in a PSA 10 grade for under $20. Next up is Russell Wilson, who led the Seattle Seahawks to their lone Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 48. Played his entire career with Seattle until signing with Denver at the start of the 2022 season. That's his 2012 Topps rookie, and that year's rookie class had 4 first-rounders, including number 1 and number 2 overall, but Wilson, as a third-rounder, ultimately sort of emerged as the best of the bunch. The Topps set that year is one of the least valuable brands in 2012, and the Wilson rookie in a PSA 10 can be had for under $50. The 2012 class had another Super Bowl winner, also not from the first round, Nick Foles, who, like Doug Williams and Jeff Hostetler, was not the starter at the beginning of the year, but sort of took over late in the season, in this case due to an injury to Carson Wentz. The Eagles under Foles won their lone Super Bowl, defeating Tom Brady and the Patriots in Super Bowl 52. His 2012 Topps rookie is basically a common, and a PSA 10 goes for about $50. That brings us to Patrick Mahomes, who has started 2 Super Bowls with the Chiefs, winning 1 so far. Mahomes' card values are premium, and Topps lost licensing in 2015, so has not been producing football cards since. Mahomes' rookies are from 2017, and the Panini Prizm you see there on screen is probably his most well-known card. It's an expensive modern card with PSA 10s going for well over $3K, and even lower grade PSA 8s costing around $500. And that brings us to our final Super Bowl winner, last year's Super Bowl for the Rams, Matthew Stafford. Stafford played his entire career with the Detroit Lions before signing with the Rams last season and leading them to their 2nd Super Bowl win in franchise history. Stafford's Topps rookie is from 2009, and you may have noticed a lot of Topps rookies around these years aren't particularly valuable, as they were overproduced and easy to get in high grade. The Stafford in a 10 can be had for about $50. All right, now some interesting tidbits for those of you who like tidbits. First, there are 9 quarterbacks who have won a Super Bowl but are not in the Hall of Fame, despite being eligible. Here are the 9. I imagine Joe Flacco and Nick Foles will be added to this list once they are eligible, and there'll be some other borderline ones, such as potentially like a Matt Stafford, for example. There have been 12 quarterbacks who have won multiple Super Bowls, only 4 that have won at least 3. And as I mentioned earlier, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are the only 2 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl with 2 different teams. If anyone wants super hard trivia question, there are 2 other quarterbacks to start a Super Bowl for at least 2 different teams. The answer to that one is Craig Morton and Kurt Warner. But that's it. I appreciate everyone watching. Enjoy the Super Bowl and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.